What's up, everybody? As always, thank you guys for the continued support on these young and pregnant reviews. Now let's get into the next episode. So episode 4 starts off, Kayla and Luke go to his mother's house, and his mom and his sister are there, and they start talking about the altercation that happened with Annette and Kayla, I'm guessing the previous week. So Luke's mom and sister are pretty much still fired up and talking about how the dynamic changed once Annette's grown ass swung on Kayla. They were telling Kayla basically like that they are trained to go and they're going to have her back no matter what, and she ain't got nothing to worry about. And then they asked her, has Stefan's mom or Stefan even reached out since the incident? And Kayla said, no, even though I try to give Stefan and his family the benefit of the doubt, nobody has reached out to me since this altercation happened, and I'm pretty much all set. So Brianna is sitting down with her sister at some coffee shop, and they start talking about why Brianna is being unnecessarily mean to her mom and just, being a brat. And Brianna's like, I'm not going to give her the silent treatment, but she just annoys me. She just annoys me. So then her sister says that maybe she should go back to therapy. And Brianna's like, yeah, maybe I should go see my old therapist because the way I'm treating mom right now is just terrible. And it's honestly because I'm not being heard and I don't want things to continue the way they are. So hopefully Brianna gets some help from this therapist because honestly, her misplaced anger is getting annoying. So next we head over to Maryland. So Young and Pregnant, I guess, is debuting 2 new girls, Madison and Kayla J. And they both got, I think, 3 or 4 episodes apiece. So I'm guessing Young and Pregnant for this season is done with Madison, which is sad because I was starting to warm up to her story, but now we have to warm up to a whole nother girl story. And her name is Kayla J, and she's from Maryland. So this is a very interesting situation because her partner, her boyfriend, her baby daddy, her best friend is transitioning from female to male. Now, they said that they met at their first job, and they've been together like ever since, which has been like 3 years. Kayla says that in the midst of them dating, her boyfriend, Mikail, started transitioning from female to male. They were in love, and they went to a sperm bank in order to get pregnant as soon as they turned 18 because they wanted to have their own family. Their family was very judgmental of their relationship at first. Kayla says that her family was more understanding than Mikhail's, but Mikhail's family was just not having it at all. Mikail says that he wishes that his family would just accept him, specifically his mom. He says that, his mom bust out crying when she found out that Mikail was gay and that she blamed herself for even naming him Mikail is the reason why he turned out gay. The couple claim they've been on and off again for years just because they get so much judgment and the world looks down on them. The family don't really accept it, and they didn't think that fatherhood and motherhood would be the way that it is, even though they wanted this child. They were just unprepared with life, and Mikhail wanted to date other females. This particular story is very interesting to me. I cannot believe that they said as soon as they turned 18, they went to a sperm bank. So I'm going to love to follow this story as well. So heading over to Kaya, she's playing with her son Amor, and she's talking about how this time of year, whatever year it is when she feels the most down because it's been 4 years since her father passed, and that is an extremely hard thing to deal with. It's like having seasonal depression when someone dies and it's coming around that time of the anniversary. It's really hard to deal with. So, she's tearing up in the confessional and saying that she can't believe that her father will never meet her child, and it's just hard. And the person that she would turn to the most is Tiaza. But Tiaza is dealing with her own family issues right now. Then it flashes over to an unaired scene of Tiaza's mom saying that, her and Tiaza are not close because she told Tiaza that she did not like the fact that she was gay. So Tiaza looked for acceptance, I believe, in her father. But when she moved in with her father after moving out of Kaya's house, she claimed that they were just not close. They didn't have that father-daughter bond that she thought or that she wanted with her father. And she was just going to give up on him because honestly, she claims that her father doesn't talk to her and that she always has to hit him up first. And she can't believe that, you have a kid in this world and you don't know what in the world your kid is doing. You don't check in just to see if they're alive. And that's a sad situation. So I understand what she was talking about in last week's episode about trying to break generational curses, because I have no idea how you have children and you don't talk to them on a daily basis, especially if they're not in your presence. So heading over to Rachel, we get a quick recap that she's still with Cody with that same y'all need Jesus shirt on. So we know they're still going strong. Then it switches over to her and her sister Mallory. She says she's going to hang out with Mallory for today because her mom is still getting on her nerves and in her life. So she asked Mallory about her love life, and Mallory says, she just gets dick when she needs it and that she doesn't need a man. So her and Mallory go sit down, and Rachel starts telling her that, I'm back with Cody and I think I'm going to move out and get an apartment with him. And Mallory is quick to protest and says, what does he do for a living? Does he have a job? And she's like, yeah, he works at a sandwich shop, and she's like, a sandwich shop, and you're going to move in with him with a toddler. So then Rachel suggests that they could get income-based housing because anything is better than living with their mom. Mallory, however, thinks that is a terrible idea and thinks that they are going to struggle. So her and Rachel start arguing, and Rachel was like, well, you're a hoe and you live with our grandma, so you're not in a better situation than me at all. And you don't even know Cody. You never hung out with him, so don't talk shit about him. And she's like, well, you told me he wasn't shit last year, so what's the difference now? Well, now I love him. It's just crazy that these two started an argument so quickly with each other. Then Rachel proceeds to get up and was like, this bitch is getting on my nerves. Come get me. Because she didn't want to talk to Mallory anymore because Mallory was halfway making sense. So heading back over to Maryland with Kayla J, her boyfriend, Mikail, is actually, about to leave to go to Philly to live back with his mom. But before he leaves, they sit down and have a conversation about why they're not together. And basically, Mikail is like, I just want to do me. That's why we broke up in the first place. I want to see life and see what have you. So she starts talking about how her world changed when he broke up with her because it's all she knew for 2 or 3 years, and it's kind of awkward. And he's like, yeah, things just changed and I want to do me, aka I just want to have sex with whomever and not be tied down. So she's like, well, do you think in the future we'll get back together? Because I want another kid. I want a kid by you, and I want for our kids to be close in age. So like, time is ticking. When do you think that this is going to happen? And conversations like this always make me cringe because it's almost like a pick me type situation. Like, if he wants to go, let him go, for one. For two, you're like 19 or 20 at this point and you want another kid just to have another kid or just to keep this relationship going. It's like, no. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, let's see where this goes. And he even says, now is not the right time to have a kid because I'm not together and we live 2 hours apart. Like, no, another kid. We are not about to bring another kid into this situation. So flashing over to Brianna, she meets with this therapist, but it just looks like maybe a counselor in a coat locker room. I don't know. It doesn't look legit. But anyway, she's with this therapist and trying to figure out her issues on why she's being a bitch to her mom. So she says, that her mom still views her as the girl who went out and got pregnant at 16 and don't know who her baby's father is. And, doesn't treat her like a young adult. The same thing that she's been preaching all season. So she says her mom will do stuff for her, but throw it in her face. And when she does that, that causes Brianna to max the fuck out and, start cussing her out and telling her how much she hate her and her life would be better off without her mom and blase, blase. So the counselor is like, whoa, so like when you max out, you really max the F out. And Brianna's like, yeah, I just can't take it. My mom is such a bitch. She says that she just wants her mom to see her as an equal, maybe a young adult, and not the girl that went out and got pregnant and don't know who her daddy is. So, y'all, let's just pray for Brianna. So heading back over to Kayla, she's in the car with her boyfriend, Big Luke, and they're talking about the situation that happened when Annette put her hands on Kayla, and the fact that nobody has reached out yet to Kayla to even try to remedy the situation. She then asks Luke would he be interested in adopting Isaiah, and he immediately says yes. It then flashes over to a scene, I think first season, where Stefan put his hands on Kayla, and it's like, okay, at this point, Stefan and his mom have both assaulted me, and the one time they put their hands on Isaiah, that's when it's gonna be, all hell is going to start flying loose. And Luke agrees, and they don't want anything to do with the family, Stefan, nobody. So then it flashes over to Stefan in yet another random ass park with this friend, I think his name is Ray, that is just taking up for him whenever he gets a chance. So they're over here in this park talking about the situation that happened, and this dude, Stefan, is just like, yeah, so Kayla called me. Kayla don't never call me. That's how I knew the situation was bad. And my mama put her hands on Kayla, and it was just crazy. And yeah, but I don't plan on ever meeting with Kayla again because we just got two different outlooks on life. What? I can't make this up, y'all. He was actually in the park with his friend telling him about the situation. And the friend asked, so what about the sit down? So there ain't gonna be no more meetings or nothing. And Stefan is like, I don't have any reason to meet with her anymore. We have two different outlooks. We have two different family portraits. She wants everything her way and not even trying to see it my way. So just forget the fact that you have a kid, huh? You're just saying that, you're never going to meet up with your child's mother again to discuss anything. And I get it. It's easy for you to walk away because you don't even know this kid. You don't know that kid at all. But this is like the saddest excuse for a father I've ever seen. So swinging over to Virginia, this situation is just starting to get a little confusing to me. So Kaya and Tiesa are sitting down, sharing a basket of hot wings. It's literally a basket of hot wings, and it looks like some fake ass red wine. They're sitting down talking about their issues with, their parentals. And Tiesa tells Kaya that, her and her father do not have a daughter daddy relationship, and it's kind of awkward living at his house. This is what's confusing to me because y'all don't talk at all, but you claim to live there. So Kaya is pretty much telling her, try to talk to your father, even if you see him in the kitchen, say hey to him. Don't just walk past them. Try to have a relationship with them because when it's too late, when they're dead and gone, you're going to feel bad about it. Tiesa's like, fuck both my parents. None of them people care anything about me anyway. When they die, they die. I'm not going to feel bad. And Kaya was, definitely getting emotional because she was thinking about her own father and how she regrets time lost with him. So she was emotional to start with. So when they start getting on this subject, Tiesa's like, she doesn't care if her father dies. She's not going to try to have, a relationship with him. She's not going to keep opening up old wounds and get cut all over again for some people who, in her words, don't give a fuck about her. So Kaya is now hysterically crying, gets up from the table and is like saying that she's not about to have a dinner or even talk to somebody who wants their daddy to die, which is not what Tiasia said. So Tiasia has this confused look on her face like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? She doesn't even know what's going on. I don't know what's going on because how do you live with somebody and they don't give a fuck about you at the same time? I mean, I kind of get that part, but I was under the impression that she had moved out of her father's house already because that's kind of weird. So y'all just walking around pretending like each other aren't there. So Rachel says she just cannot do it, dude. And she leaves the park and hightails it off somewhere with Cody, and her mom has to later come and pick up her daughter. Like, she literally left her sister there with the kids, and her sister's like, how the hell did I end up with two kids? So when Rachel's mom, Big Steph, gets there, she's like, yeah, I just cussed your daughter out. Mallory's like, I just cussed your daughter out because she's saying to me, I'm with Cody, and yeah, he works in a sandwich shop, and then he's going to get me a job in a sandwich shop, and we're going to make bank, and we're going to get this apartment together. And they both start laughing because I feel like they know Rachel, and they know that she's a bullshitter. Not only that, but nobody in this camp takes this Cody dude serious. I mean, you can't take anybody serious that wears a shirt that says y'all need Jesus 3 days in a row. So heading over to Kayla J, this is by far the most interesting scene from Tuesday night. So Mikail is meeting with his mom in Philly, and they start talking about the whole transition and stuff. And his mother, I feel like his mother is cute. She really doesn't understand. She's like, people on the internet are calling you a he. So Mikhail tries to tell her, yes, I'm transitioning into a man. And his mom is just like, no, no, you're not. You can't be a man. You can't leave me. You're all I got. You're my daughter. And, it feels like the death of a child. So he's trying to explain it to her. She's like, no, 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 you are not a man. I could understand when you were gay and I accepted you, and I will always accept you for whomever you love, but I cannot accept the fact that you want to transition from female to male. So they get into it, and Michaela's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you don't accept it, it's not your life. It's not your choice. It's not nothing. Just know that I'm a man. While the mother is steadily protesting that, no, you're not a man. You all I got. Don't do this. His mother is just like, basically, what if I go out and do some weird shit? And he's like, that's fine. That's your life. So I honestly just feel like the mom is more confused than anything, because first you tell me you're gay and now you're telling me it's something else. So I just feel like she's more confused than anything. I don't feel like she's like anti anything. I just think that she's an older lady that's confused about what's going on and is thinking the worst and expecting the worst of these changes. So then we swing back over to Brianna, who I'm guessing is feeling very refreshed since her therapist slash counselor meeting. And her mom finally sit down to talk about what bugs her. So once again, Brianna's just saying, I need to get a new job. I need to move out. Then maybe me and you won't argue so much. So her mom is basically like, yeah, maybe you won't tell me that you hate me 500 times a day and then ask me to bring you something. And Brianna agrees. So Brianna just wants to move out without any of the adult responsibilities, it seems like. Her whole thing is just, I want to move out, I want to move out, I want to move out, I want to move out. But she honestly doesn't have the money to move out from what it seems. And the grass is not always greener on the other side. I say stay at your parents' house until you are on your feet 100% and don't have to come back and ask for anything. Only then are you grown. So, moving on to Virginia, now everybody in the entire house is upset because of Kaya and making Tiaza bring up these hard memories about her mom and dad. So now everybody's upset. Kaya's in her room crying because she's thinking about her father, Barry. And Tiaza's like, why are we even having this conversation? Them people don't give a F about me. Tiaza also says that, just because you put a roof over your child's head doesn't make you a parent. And that's true. That's very true. Tiaza seems like she doesn't have many people in her life that care much about her. So she goes in the room and tries to make up with Kaya, because that was misdirected anger coming from Kaya anyway, who's extremely upset because of her dad. And she's just like, I will give anything back to have my dad. This was really a hard episode to watch with them two being so vulnerable. I never knew about this, how Tiaza really felt and how Kaya feels. I didn't even know Kaya's father had passed. So, you learn something every episode about these girls. So heading over to Kayla, she is explaining her reasoning for wanting Luke to adopt Isaiah. Now, for one, she says that she was going to let Zay make this decision on his own when he got older, whether he wants Stefan in his life or not, and whether he wants Luke to be, like his official dad. But in lieu of recent events, aka Stefan's mom putting her hands on Kayla feels like she should go ahead and make this change, because she wouldn't want for, if something happened to her, to Zay be just left in the wind, or for Stefan's parents to have any say so in what would happen to Isaiah. So then Luke heads over to his mom's house to talk about the situation. And she's like, yeah, that baby getting big. What are you going to do? And he's like, the next step is definitely adoption. Even if me and Kayla don't work out, I will always be his father. If I come up and I pick up my daughter, I'm picking up my son too. And this is why Big Luke has the name Big Luke. He just always 100% steps up, and he's definitely raising a child that is not his biologically. And he's always been there since the boy was even, I believe, like 10 or 11 months old. He starts talking about his childhood and his father, and he's like, yeah, my dad was there sometimes, but the broken promises and stuff, I see it all on Zay's face, and I'm never going to treat him like that. That's my son too. And it's just great to see a man this young step up into that role and excel at it. So this video is getting way long, so let me just wrap it up. So the last scene is Mikail and his mom. His mom is still trying to desperately understand what her son is going through. She doesn't really understand the transitioning and the phases and stuff like that. She claims she knew nothing about it. So she's like, please just educate me. I don't know nothing about it. It feel like a funeral. It feel like I'm losing my child. He's like, I have not changed throughout this whole thing. Okay, I'm tired of faking it. I've been faking it for you and other people and being what other people want me to be. And every time I try to talk to you about the fact that I am transitioning to a male, you say, and what about God? And what about what this person think, what that person think? Fuck all that. I am now living for Mikhail. So throughout all her crying and her, it feel like a funeral and blah, blah, blah. He just said, look, I have to choose me. I understand everything you're saying, but listen, it's me. It's my time. I don't care about nothing or nobody else. And I have not changed throughout this whole thing. So basically, you're either going to support me or not. So his mom was like, I'm going to support you. This goes against everything I believe in. This goes against everything I know and how I was raised. However, I love you. If this is who you are and you're happy, stay in this place. So it went from yelling to her hugging him and trying to embrace him. But he just looked like he was over it, if I have to tell the God honest truth. He looks like we've been on this road before. Here we go again. He just looks hella over it. So that's all for this week. That is the review. What do you guys think?